When people enter into production and it's like, well, this game is basically a project. How do I do this production work? And either what the person who's already there tells them, or when they just go online, is they're usually guided to some flavor of classical project management, which could not be a poorer fit for the creative, collaborative effort that is game development if you tried to find a poorer fit. Because classical project management at its root is not collaborative. It's not iterative. It's decide everything, including how long it's going to take up front, and then either stick to that or make the paperwork look like you stuck to that. And that is in any creative endeavor, but I'll definitely say in video game development, that is a recipe for disaster and collateral damage and a lot of burnt out people. And that's what I see, in terms of, if you look at all the producer anti-patterns that I see, when you trace them back, it's that most folks come up in the field thinking that there is no playbook, just YOLO, whatever. Or they think, well, it's that project management stuff like my dad did at the insurance company.
Yep. That's just for those who like terminology. I believe that's usually called waterfall, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Waterfall is very much not a good thing for an iterative process like game design or game development.
In fact, if you like lore, the lore of Waterfall, Waterfall was named Waterfall in 1970 because a gentleman who was speaking at a conference on software development of large systems, his second diagram in the white paper, because you didn't really do slides in 1970, and well, you definitely didn't do PowerPoint, but his paper in the second diagram, it is what came to be the word waterfall is nowhere in the paper. It got the name Waterfall because the second diagram shows from like design to specification to then coding, testing, and get it out there. He drew it in a vertical from top upper right, from left top to bottom right, and the boxes went in, and they all had unidirectional arrows, and so people came to call it water because they're like, look, it's waterfall. It's like water or shit. Everything's just rolling downhill. And the more you are at the top, the less you deal with the shit in the water that gets to the bottom of the hill. But here's the fascinating thing. That second diagram was the beginning of the problem elaboration statement. It's in the first half of the paper where he's explaining the problem with what was becoming classical project management. This does not work well. In fact, the very next diagram, he goes on to show a lot of people are describing it that way. That's not really how it works. It really works this way. And he starts, going through the problem. But then if you look at the last half of the paper, he's like, now that all sucks. So I recommend these 10 things. The 10 things he recommends are all in line with, we talk about, agile or healthy game production. It all aligns with that. But
so the thing that got popular from his presentation was the thing that he said don't do. So moral of the story, never take too long to describe the problem. People might think you're talking about the solution.
It's true.
I feel bad
it's
for him.
Extremely true.
If that was like my life's work and that's the one thing that people took away from it, I'd be so disappointed.
Oh, yeah. He has some awesome quotes in that paper.
Especially when he was so close to basically describing what was the correct method, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
Right there.
And so I find, and so you take that belief that you can decide everything up front, decide the timeline, and then hand that to somebody else and say, now make that true. If you think about the fact that the type of training and information that so many people in production find online or are guided toward has that as an underlying philosophical principle, you can see why there's so much game production that is problematic. And you see it, and it manifests in ways like Alex was talking about, with people who make all these silos, but they're sitting on top and it's all going to work because they're enough of a puppeteer, to do this. Or they love being at the center of things. So we're going to have a billion meetings about meetings. And and they're the information and interaction conduit, it neither scales nor works that well.
I have a quote that I like to throw, which is ego is the death of effectiveness.
Yeah.
Right? And when you feel that you need to be the most important piece on the chessboard, you inevitably miss the ability. The weakest piece on a chessboard, by the way, is the most important one, which is the king, right? They don't have power. They delegate it to others. And that's so incredibly important for people to internalize, right? If you want to be more effective, you have to empower the others around you, not just imagine a chessboard full of pawns.
I love that.